to this week's presentation of Bunko Sqaud, brought to you live by WBRC, the Bloomfield Rotary Club, and Per Coffee. Don't be a jerk, always drink Perk.
Perk, perk, perk. Perk coffee means the finest coffee beans. Ask any cop, it's Perk in his cup. Perk Coffee Company.
And now, part 2 of Big Bunko and Bloomfield on Bunko Sqaud.
At 5:54 p.m., Detectives Friday and Speaker drove out to a side street just south of Western. It took roughly 23 minutes to get to the residence. When they pulled up in front of the house at 2238 North Avenue, a woman was standing on the porch. She spotted the car and walked down the steps.
You're the policeman?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Detective Sergeant Joe Friday. This is my, we spoke on the phone. This is my partner, Detective Frank Speaker.
Hello, how are you?
How do you do, ma'am?
Well, you certainly didn't hurry to get here, did ya?
Well, the traffic's kind of heavy this time of day in Bloomfield, even on Saturday.
And we did make a quick stop for a cup of coffee and a donut to go. Missed lunch, you know, I think.
Well, looks like the first meal you may have missed in a while, Detective Speaker. Why didn't you use those flashing lights in your siren?
Oh, we didn't want to scare him off.
Oh, well, it's too late for that. You left about 10-15 minutes ago. Oh, I'm Daisy Wilted. W-I-L-T-E-D. Suppose you need my name for your records?
Yes, Miss Wilton.
Not Mrs. Say, Sergeant Friday, you look to be in pretty good shape.
I try, ma'am.
You see which way he went, Miss Wilton?
Took an RTS bus on the corner, probably all the way to Geneva by now.
Why did he leave in such a rush? Any ideas?
Got suspicious, I guess. Might have heard my phone call to you. I had to talk so loud to make you understand me. I tried to keep him here as long as I could. I did my best. You can't ask for more than that.
No, ma'am. We can't.
Well, you might as well come on inside. Suppose you want a full report. That's regular procedure, isn't it?
So you're familiar with police procedure, are you?
I was on the police patrol in grammar school. Volunteer crossing guard these days when school's in session. And I go to the movies. Listen to radio dramas every night, too. They got it all down pat.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess they didn't used to be so accurate, but they are nowadays, you know, documentary-like.
Sure.
Here, we can all sit at the kitchen table.
Thanks.
Well,
Ma'am?
what are we waiting for? Let's get started.
Suppose you tell us in your own words just what happened.
Well, that's plain silly. Just whose words would you think I'd use?
Oh, yes, I see. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Or where are your notebooks?
Ma'am?
You're going to take this down, aren't you? They always do.
We'll try and remember it.
They always use a notebook on the Untouchables.
Oh, that's the FBI, ma'am. Bigger budget.
Pretty darn sure of yourselves. Well, he came up to my door, must have been about an hour ago now, at least an hour.
Yes, ma'am?
Asked if I had a room for rent. I told him that's what the sign said. He just laughed like thought I'd been making a joke. Didn't know I was serious.
You show him the room?
Well, I tried to. He hardly even glanced at it. Then he said it was exactly what he'd been looking for. That's when I first began wondering about him.
What else did he say?
He used to live in a house just like this when he was a little boy back in Secaucus, New Jersey. That it reminded him of home. Figured he was softening me up to get me to lower the rent. Well, two can play at that game.
Yes, ma'am. What did you do?
Well, I upped it $10. Room's not worth a cent over 45, 50 tops. I asked 55.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I'd be able to come down when you started playing on my sympathies, and I wouldn't be out anything either. He'd be happy, and I'd be whole.
Very shrewd, ma'am.
Didn't bat an eye, not one eye, when I told him it was $55 for the flop. Said he'd take it just like that. I knew right then something was wrong.
What happened next?
Well, we came downstairs in the living room here.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I said I wanted to make the first month's rent in advance. I always insist on that. A lot of them try to pay you by the week. Before you can turn around, bam, they're behind. Takes forever to get rid of them once they're moved in. I always insist on a full month's rent up front. Been around the block before. It isn't my first rodeo, you know. Oh, and I like cowboy stories, too.
Ma'am?
Oh, besides cop shows, I mean?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Well, he didn't bat an eye at that either. Brought out his checkbook right then.
Now, did he ask if he could make it for a little extra?
Hey, how'd you know that?
Detective Friday's been around the block here before, too, and not his first rodeo either.
Yeah, 25 extra, that's what he wanted. If he's been around so long, though, why haven't you picked him up?
Well, we're trying, ma'am.
Well, just a few minutes earlier this afternoon, you'd broken a skull caper wide open. Probably would have got you promoted to lieutenant, sergeant.
Well, we're just as anxious to solve this as you are, Miss Wilton.
Did he say why he needed the extra cash, ma'am?
Something about cab fare to get his things out here.
That's a lot of cab fare. Where did he say he lived? Chicago?
Right? That's exactly what I said, right to his face. Where are you from, Chicago? Said he'd have to clear up his hotel bill, too. Claimed they wouldn't take a check if he was moving. Said it was the Cadillac Hotel in Rochester.
And that's when you called us.
Of course not. Didn't call you till I was sure the check was no good. Not that I would have cashed it, but there's no point in running to the police till you got the facts to back you up. You should know that, Sergeant.
What made you so sure it was phony?
Well, the way he signed it.
What do you mean?
Will Skiptown.
You knew it wasn't Skiptown?
Well, now how could he be? Skiptown's dead. Don't tell me you didn't know Will Skiptown was dead, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am. We knew it. Please. Piano accident.
Well then?
Miss Wilton, are you connected with show business?
Oh, I follow it, that's all. Particularly since these studios started popping up around here over the past few years. Oh, I don't spend all my time reading movie magazines or anything like that, but I keep up with what's going on in the field. Did you know Skiptown was on television last night?
What's that?
The box that shows moving pictures and programs right in your living room? It's becoming quite popular these days.
Yes, ma'am. I know. But what you were saying about Skiptown being on television last night?
Oh, yes, of course. Anyhow, Will Skiptown was on the late movie. Picture must have been at least 20 years old. He played the villain. Did a pretty good job considering it was 20 years ago. Gives you a weird feeling, though, watching somebody who isn't alive anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Now, as soon as you saw the name Skiptown on the check, you realized the guy was a phony and called us, is that right?
Well, approximately.
Approximately?
Oh, do try to keep up, Sergeant. I told him I didn't know if I had the cash in the house, that I'd have to go upstairs and make sure. I've got an extension phone up there.
I see.
Then I telephoned you.
What did you do after talking to us?
I hung up the phone.
Uh-huh. Then?
I came back downstairs.
Yes.
Told him I didn't have the money. He started acting funny. Said it didn't matter, he'd cash the check someplace else. Real funny, like he was on to me or something. I stalled around the best I could, but he took off. Caught the bus on the corner. Didn't have to wait more than a minute or so for it. Sure is strange, though.
What's strange, Mrs. Wiltlett?
Well, whenever I want that bus, I stand out there for at least half an hour.
Uh-huh. One more thing, Miss Wilton.
Well,
We've got a description, but it's rather vague.
description?
Yes, of this guy who's been passing himself off as Will Skiptown.
Oh,
All we know is that he's medium-sized, about 5'8", middle-aged, 160 pounds or so, with blue eyes and gray hair, well-mannered and fairly well-dressed.
well, that sounds just about right.
It's not very specific.
Can you add anything?
Oh, you mean you want to know who he is?
That's right.
Harry Morgan.
Harry Morgan? Who's that?
Oh, used to play bit parts in pictures. A real B-lister in B pictures. Did some TV too, I think. But TV isn't for real actors, you know.
I wouldn't know him.
I recognized him the minute he came through the door.
Miss Daisy Wilted insisted that her identification of the check forger and con man was correct. Friday and Speaker drove back to the office. Checked the name Harry Morgan through R&I. There was nothing on him. Friday telephoned Miss Ionia had to say. She reported that Morgan was a member in bad standing, 2 years delinquent in his dues. She had no address listed for him, but she was able to tell him that the last company Morgan worked for was a small movie company, Mark 7 Productions, on Eastern Boulevard. She also told them that his files showed that he was last represented by a Jack Fletcher, an agent with offices on Main Street. At the end of their shift, Friday and Speaker returned to Maynard's Beat to unwind and catch some more hip tunes.
Like crowded again, Joe.
Yeah,
Like always is, I guess.
yeah, popular.
Hey, look, there's our regular table.
Crazy. Like you cats back to soak in more vibes? Wild to see you back making the scene. More beans?
Yes, please. Like 2 light cups of beans.
solid, Daddy-o.
Like now you're with it, Cat. I wonder when the tunes start.
Looks like we won't have to wait long.
I hope you're all ready to go there. 'Cause we got some sweet verse from our crazy tomcat. A sultry piece called Black Coffee. Okay, hit it, boys.
I'm feeling mighty lonesome, haven't slept a wink. I walk the floor and watch the door, and in between I drink black coffee. Love's a hand-me-down brew. I'll never know a Sunday in this weekday room. I'm talking to the shadows, 1 o'clock to 4. And Lord, how slow the moments go when all I do is pour black coffee since the blues caught my eye. I'm hanging out on Monday, my Sunday dreams to drive. Now a man is born to go a-loving, a woman's born to weep and fret, to stay at home and tend her oven, and drown her past regrets in coffee and cigarettes. I'm moody all the morning and morning all the night, and in between it's nicotine and not much hard to fight. Black coffee, feeling low as the ground. It's driving me crazy. I'm waiting for my baby to maybe come around.
Solid groove, man, solid groove. Next, a real cool cut for you cats called Java Jive.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot percolator. I love coffee, I love tea. I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I said Boston beans, soybeans, itty bitty green beans, cabbage and greens. I'm not keen about no beans unless they are the cheery chili beans.
Boy.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I love Java, sweet and hot. Oops, Mr. Moto, I'm the coffee pot. You shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Slip me a slug from that wonderful mug, and I'll cut a rug till I'm snug in a jug. Drop a nickel in the pot, Joe, taking it slow. Waiter, waiter, percolator. I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java Jive and it loves me. The coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, boy.
Well, Frank, I finished my beans. I'm going home. I'm pretty tired. Long week.
Okay, Joe, yeah, me too.
It was Monday, January 16th, 9:35 a.m. Detective Speaker drove to check Mark 7 Productions on Eastern Boulevard, and Detective Friday drove a black and white out to interview Mrs. Fletcher at his office on Main Street.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'd like to see Mr. Fletcher.
Are you a client?
Police officer, my name's Friday.
Oh, nice to meet you. My name's Frida.
Hi, Frida. Is Mr. Fletcher in?
Not yet.
You expecting him?
Yeah, but I don't know when exactly. Sometimes he plays racquetball on Monday mornings before he comes to the office.
I see.
But he'll be in. He's hoping to close a deal with MSCP today.
Oh,
That's a studio, a new company just getting started in the business.
I see.
Would you like to look at the trades while you're waiting?
Trades?
Oh, sorry. Those are those movie industry newspapers. I have Fridays. They don't come out on Saturday or Sunday. And Mondays won't be here till later this afternoon.
Well, thank you. Friday sounds fine to me.
Is Mr. Fletcher in some kind of trouble?
Not as far as I know.
Well, that's a relief.
Ma'am?
Just between you and me, the office has been shaking on kind of thin ice lately. Financially speaking, I mean.
Oh,
The company owes me 2 weeks' pay. If anything happened to Mr. Fletcher, I doubt I'd ever see it. My money, that is.
uh-huh.
He's an easy man to work for, but a girl needs to be paid for her work.
Sure. Of course, Frida.
Good morning. Fletcher's Flick Finders. Miss Bandita speaking. How may I help you? I'm sorry, Mr. Warbanger. He hasn't come in yet. Any minute now. Would you like me to have him call you? I see. Well, if you'll try again in about 15 minutes, he ought to be here by then. Thank you. Bye. Guess there wasn't much news in that issue of the trades.
No, ma'am.
Friday's a bad day in this business. Oh, I'm very sorry, Officer Friday. I I didn't mean to say anything bad about Friday. I mean, no real news. Just all that stuff about what pitches are shooting. Hardly any real news. Friday is my favorite day, you know.
Uh-huh, mine too.
I hope you weren't insulted about that other thing either.
What was that, ma'am?
When I asked if you were a client,
No, ma'am, not at all.
it's just that some people wouldn't like the idea of being taken for an actor.
Some people wouldn't like the idea of being taken for a cop.
I never thought of that.
Any chance that you have a list of your boss's clients?
Sure,
Names and addresses?
of course.
Maybe you can help me then. Harry Morgan?
Morgan?
Yeah, I'd like his address.
I don't think I've never heard of him.
Oh,
Wait a minute though, I'll make sure. He's not down on the list.
I see.
If he was a current or recent client, I'd recognize the name. He'd have called in. They all do.
Uh-huh.
I've only been here a few months, but he'd have called in. Actor?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd have called.
Maybe Mr. Fletcher could help me.
I doubt it.
The Screen Actors Guild says your boss used to handle him.
The bad ones change agents real fast.
Why is that?
91 days.
Why is that?
If you don't get them so much work in 90 days, then they can get a new agent. It's in the contract, so they usually do.
Oh,
Morning, Mr. Fletcher.
Good morning, Frida.
This gentleman's waiting to see you. Mr. Warbanger's office called. They'll call back. Mr. Warbanger is currently getting a mani-pedi.
What?
A manicure and a pedicure.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm a police officer, Mr. Fletcher. My name's Friday.
Police?
Yes, that's right.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure. Sure. Come inside. Sit down, please, officer.
Thank you.
I need a cup of coffee. How about you, officer? Friday, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Coffee sounds great, thank you.
Frida, would you please bring Officer Friday and me some coffee? Thanks, Frida. So how can I be of assistance to Bloomfield's finest?
You handle an actor named Harry Morgan, Mr. Fletcher?
Morgan?
That's right.
No, I don't handle him.
You used to be his agent though, didn't you?
Oh, a couple of years ago. Not anymore. In this business, actors change agents more often than they change their socks, which is saying something.
Oh,
Yeah, in this game, when you get a star, you do what you can to keep them around. Look for bookings wherever and whenever you can, with every studio. It's really rough business. Cutthroat. 99.9%, however, are destined to be nothing more than bit players, hopefully eking out a few bucks while hanging on to a dream of fame for far too long. Usually just don't have time to work hard enough for them. Those folks bounce from agent to agent hoping for their big break. Morgan's one of those. What's he done?
Here's your coffee, gentlemen. Mr. Fletcher drinks it black, but there's cream and sugar if you would like to add, Sergeant Friday. Let me know if you need anything else.
Thank you. Could you tell me where I could find him?
I wouldn't have the slightest idea. Don't think he's had much work lately. At least I haven't heard of him working.
What was his last address?
Officer Friday, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong man.
Well, how about the last address that you have for him?
I don't keep addresses for actors that leave me.
Why did he leave you?
Usual reason, no work. Pretty bad as an actor. Excuse me. Thank you, Frida. Hello, Harvey, baby. How are you? Glad to hear it. And Winnie? Ah, that's a shame. Seems to be a lot of that going around this time of year. Well, what do you think of Marlon for the part? You make up your mind? Uh-huh. I sure don't agree with you there, Harvey. He didn't look too old in the test. So he's been in the business a few years. You can't hold that against him. What do you mean a new face? You'll bring out somebody from New York who's been on screen 100 times. There won't be anything new about his face. Look, I'm not trying to tell you your business. I'm just trying to get a good actor the right part. I tell you, Marlon's your man for Streetcar. I'll be done in a moment, Mr. Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like it, Harvey. Now, how many weeks' work? No, Harvey. I've read the script. Marlon can't shoot that many scenes in 8 weeks. Certainly not with Kazan directing. $3,000 a week, 12-week guarantee. Warner's paid him $3,000 last fall. Go ahead and check. Look, Harvey, if it was a Hollywood agent, you know what Marlon would cost you? Well, I'm not going to argue with you. You call Warner's. They'll tell you what they paid Marlon. I'm here till noon if you want to make a deal. Bye. Oh, sorry to be so long.
Sure. Any suggestions on how I might get in touch with Morgan?
Call the Screen Actors Guild.
Well, they sent me here.
Oh. What's he done?
We'd rather talk to him.
Well, last time I saw him, he touched me for $10.
Where was that?
I bumped into him on the street. Is it serious?
It would depend on how hard you bumped him. Did you file a police report?
No. I mean, was it serious, whatever Morgan's done?
It's just a routine investigation. Thanks for your time, Mr. Fletcher.
Well, sorry I couldn't be of help.
Now you let me tell you something, mister. My job is tough enough and you're making it tougher. Now the reason you can't help us locate this man is because you don't want to become involved. Now isn't that it?
Well, it's just that I...
You know, you're the kind of man that is responsible for the crime rate, not only in this city, but all over the country. You don't want to get involved because it's an inconvenience to you, and you'll complain that your police don't do enough. All over this country where police officers are putting our lives and our time and energy and sometimes putting our lives on the line to protect people like you. You have a debt to society too. We need citizens with integrity and guts to come forward and to help us do a good job. And one more thing. I hope you sleep well tonight. Those ladies who've gotten swindled by Morgan won't sleep very well tonight. Now you think about that, mister.
Oh, all right. Wait a minute.
Yes?
I suppose I could turn him up. It'd be a dirty trick, though.
No, why would that be?
I don't know. Maybe it's my fault he's in trouble. I didn't get him enough work. Now I hand him over to you. Makes me a heel, doesn't it?
Well, you might be doing him a favor.
Well, he won't think so.
You said you didn't know where he lives,
Well, I don't.
so how will you find out?
I'll spread the word around that I got a job for him. He'll hear about it.
I see.
He'll turn up sooner than later, too. Be surprised at how quickly.
All right, sir.
Give Frida your number. When I hear from Morgan, I'll get in touch with you.
Thank you.
I still feel like a heel.
Well, you shouldn't. You're not a heel to the good citizens of the greater Bloomfield metropolitan area. Besides, you called a good turn on him.
How's that?
He's a bad actor.
At 10:55 a.m., Detective Sergeant Friday left the offices of Jack Fletcher and got into the black and white. He radioed into headquarters and was dispatched to the Bloomfield International Friendship Building at 15 South Avenue, a modern 3-story glass and Italian marble edifice which houses international delegations and a pizzeria with a lovely view by a parkside. As part of the law enforcement exchange program, police officers from several countries were assigned to the facility as a cooperative international endeavor, sharing the very latest crime-fighting techniques. The Prime Minister of Fredonia, along with his delegation, was due to arrive at 2:17 in the afternoon. The Bloomfield PD was charged with detailed oversight. Sergeant Friday was instructed to review the plans and report to Captain Costello, who would arrive on site at noon to personally assume the responsibility of the Prime Minister's safety, which had grown particularly problematic since someone leaked about the Prime Minister's surprise visit to the Bloomfield Tribune, the nation's newspaper.
Hi there, Joe. Is everything in order?
Hi, Cap. Yeah, it seems to be. There are international officers at each elevator door on the first, second, and third floors. The stairways are guarded by BPD officers. The PM and his entourage and his security detail will be escorted by a police motorcade from the Bloomfield International Airport. The Fredonia Secret Service will surround the Prime Minister during his visit to the Bloomfield International Friendship Building. In addition, the entire block will be cordoned off by BPD mounted patrol.
Well, very impressive.
Thanks, Cap. The only time I remember security tighter than this was a few years ago when Frank Sinatra performed at the Bloomfield Coliseum.
All those screaming Bobby Soxers. Understandable. Well, perfect, Joe. Great job. Now then, before this Prime Minister of Fredonia arrives, I think I need to speak with the international guards at the elevators so that they know me and recognize me as Captain Costello. Now, can you tell me their names?
We have placed our exchange partners from China on the first floor, New Zealand on the second floor, and Italy on the third floor. That would be Officer Hu Bin from China on the first floor, Officer Reginald Watt from New Zealand on the second, Officer Giuseppe Aderno from Italy on the third.
Well, Joe, that's exactly what I need to find out. I want you to tell me the names of those officers on the floors.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you. Who's on first? Watt's on second. Aderno's on third.
You don't know the officers' names.
Yes, sir.
Well, then tell me, who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the officer's name at the first floor elevator door.
Who?
The fellow on the first floor.
Who?
The cop on the first.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, sir. I'm telling you. Who's on first?
That's what I'm asking you. Who's on first?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, when his paycheck comes every month, who gets the money?
Of course. The officer's entitled to every bit of it.
Who is?
Yes.
So who gets it?
Yes, sir. Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. After all, the man works hard.
Who does?
Absolutely.
All I am trying to find out is what's the guy's name on the first floor?
No. What's the guy's name on the second floor?
I am not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
One floor at a time.
Of course, Captain.
Look, Joe, I'm only asking you, who's this guy on the first floor?
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
So, what's the officer's name on the first floor?
Yes, sir. What's the officer's name on the second floor?
I am not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on the third floor, sir. I didn't think you were talking about him yet.
Now, how did I get on the third floor?
You mentioned the officer's name.
If I mentioned the third floor officer's name, now who did I say is on third?
No, sir. Who's on first?
What's on third?
What's on second?
I don't know.
He's on third.
There I go, back on the third floor again. All right, well look, why don't you just stay on the third and don't go off it?
Of course, sir. What do you want to know?
Now, who's covering the third floor?
Would you prefer to put who to cover the third floor, sir?
What am I putting on the third?
No, sir. What's on second?
I am not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
Third
floor. All right, Joe, let's say I have a key to the washroom. I want to give that key to the cop at the first floor elevator door in case the Prime Minister needs to freshen up for his meeting in the afternoon. So I'm going to take that key and I'm going to give it to who?
No, that's exactly right, Cap.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well, sir, that's all you have to do.
Is give the key to the first floor cop?
Yes, sir.
Now who's got it?
Yes, sir.
Who?
Naturally.
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 So I take the key and I give it to Naturally.
No, sir, you don't. You give it to who?
Naturally.
That's different.
But that's what I said.
You're not saying it.
I gave the key to Naturally.
You should give it to who?
Naturally.
That's it, Cap.
That's what I said.
I'm not sure, Cap. You ask me.
I give the key to who?
Naturally.
Well, now you ask me.
You give the key to who?
Naturally.
That's it.
Same as you. That's the same as you. Now, I gave the key to who? Whoever it is takes the elevator and gives it to what? What takes it to I don't know. Why I don't know. He's on third and I don't give a darn.
Excuse me?
I said I don't give a darn.
Oh, he's guarding the roof.
After briefing Captain Costello, Friday returned to Bunko Sqaud. It was 1:37 p.m. The radio alerted to a 10:31, crime in progress. 10:32, person with a gun, shots fired. The location was far across town from the Prime Minister's route, but it was reported as Mark 7 movie studio on Eastern Boulevard, where Detective Frank Speaker had gone. Detective Friday ran out to his assigned vehicle, turned on the lights and sirens, and responded to the call. He radioed headquarters that he was en route and would arrive in 6 minutes. As he approached the studio complex, he shut down the sirens and lights. At 1:43 p.m., he arrived at the scene and exited his vehicle. The shots came from sound studio number 7. Sergeant Freddy drew his service revolver and looked through a window, spotting his partner pinned down with only a trash can lid for cover. The assailant was behind a stack of crates with a clear line of fire. Through a man door, Friday quickly gained access to the building, directly behind the perp, who was taking aim and about to fire again.
I got you now, copper, you dirty rat.
Bloomfield PD, drop your weapon, God got you covered.
Thank God! It's Friday!
Drop the gun, now get down on your knees. Lock your hands behind your head.
Okay, copper, don't shoot.
You okay, Frank?
Yeah, Joe. He took 5 shots at me, but didn't come close, I guess. Scared me, though. Thought I was a goner. I never even had a chance to get a shot. He was behind those crates, no clear line of sight. This is sure a big complex. How did you happen to find me so fast?
7's my lucky number.
How's that?
Mark 7 Productions, Sound Studio 7.
Boy, I'm sure glad about that.
What's that?
Glad your lucky number isn't 16.
Boy, you guys are good. So how'd I do?
Cuff him, Frank. Are you Harry Morgan?
Yeah, that's right. You heard of me?
We've been looking for you, Morgan. Now we have a whole new level to add to your charges.
Charges? What are you talking about? Hey, wait, this isn't in the script. This is the strangest audition I've ever been to.
Audition?
Yeah, what is this, a gag?
No, it's not a gag.
Come on, anybody can get a hold of a badge. Tell me who it was that sent you. What, Frank? No, it was Sid. No, I bet it was Dean.
Come on, let's go, Morgan.
Come on, knock it off. I've been in too many pictures to fall for this. I can tell actors from cops.
Yeah? Well, then why did you fire 5 shots at a cop?
What are you talking about? This is a sound stage. It's an audition. That gun is a stage gun. You gotta be joking.
Check the gun, Frank. Now you listen here, mister. At 11:15, subsection 2, paragraph 6, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer is no joke, Morgan.
Blanks, Joe. He's right.
See, I told you. Now can you please take off the cuffs?
Just 1 minute, Morgan. First, you tell us your story. Why are you here and why did you fire a police officer?
I was supposed to. Well, I mean, Muggsy was supposed to. Besides, it's a prop, and they were blanks. Look, I came here for an audition. Sound Studio 7 at Mark 7 Productions. They told me it was a gangster movie, and I should pick up a gun for props, which I did. I hid behind the crates and started shooting, just like the script says for Muggsy to do.
Script?
Yeah. Look in my jacket pocket, inside pocket, page 67.
A Shot in the Dark by Damon Runyon. Let's see. Page 76. Muggsy sneaks into a warehouse and hides behind some crates, begins shooting at the detective holding a trash can lid. Well, I'll be darned, Joe. He's telling the truth. It's all right here in the script.
See? Now please take off the bracelets.
Bracelets?
Oh, sorry, still in character.
Okay, Frank. Take them off. For now.
Thanks. That's the last time I show up early for an audition. This is crazy. Can I go now, please?
Not so fast, Morgan. You ever hear of Will Skiptown?
Skiptown? Yeah, I heard of him. In fact, I worked with him in pictures years ago. We used to be friends.
That give you the right to sign his name?
Huh?
On bad checks.
Oh, I see now. Okay, boys. I know who sent you. I told Mike I got this call this morning about a job. He knew I'd be here. It'd be just like him to take a time like this to make it. What a joker, huh?
Some practical joke. It won't work, Morgan.
What?
Come on, Morgan. You know who we are and why we're here. Let's go.
Come on, it's over. I know this is one of Mike's gags.
Yeah? Well, 3 landladies and 1 jilted ex-fiancé say differently.
Oh. So I thought this was an audition, and it wasn't. And I didn't know I was really getting arrested, and I am. And you guys are really cops?
That's right.
Well, I knew someday this time would come.
It always does. Cuff him, Frank.
Yeah, look, it was just a few bucks.
It was enough.
You want to pick up your hat?
How'd you tumble?
One of the landladies knew Skiptown was dead.
Funny, I never figured he was that famous.
She knew you too.
Oh, really, me?
That's right.
Couldn't have known how to find me. Who told you?
Come on, let's go.
Oh, Fletcher, that's why he wanted to get in touch with me. I should have known it wasn't about a job. It was Fletcher, wasn't it?
Come on.
Some agent couldn't land a job if your life depended on it. 5 years, over 5 years I was signed with him. Never had a decent booking, nothing that lasted. A couple of days here and there, a couple of days. Nothing that lasted.
Well, don't you worry about it.
Why not?
This booking will last.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. On February 7th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of New York, in and for the County of Ontario in Bloomfield. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here's our star, Joe Friday.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, folks. I'm Joe Friday. I play a cop. You know, nothing really relaxes me more than a great cup of coffee. The richest coffee that I've found is Perks. Perks Coffee Company makes only the finest beans imported from the espresso mountain range in Colombia. The deep, dark color, the smooth, satisfying flavor, and the heavenly aroma make Perks the perfect cup of coffee. Don't be a jerk. Always drink Perk. Now, the next time you're at your local grocery, pick up Perks. It'll pick you up. And tell them Joe sent you. Perks, simply the best. And those are just the facts.
Harry Morgan, alias Sherman T. Potter, alias Bill Gannon, alias Pete Porter, were all found guilty on 4 felony counts charging forgery and 4 misdemeanor counts of impersonating an actor. He was sentenced to the state prison as prescribed by Section 470 of the New York State Penal Code for a period of not less than 5 nor more than 16 years. He is currently serving his sentence in the Elmira Correctional Facility.
You have just heard Bunko Sqaud, a series of authentic cases from official police files. Technical advice comes from the Office of the Chief of Police, Andrew Taylor, Greater Bloomfield Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Stanley Crunch, Captain J.T. Kirk, and Deputy B. Fife. Transcribed from Bloomfield, New York, USA. Hear a new Bunko Sqaud case each week on your local WBRC radio station. Be sure to catch next week's episode, Bad Bunko in Bristol. Check your newspapers for the day and time. Perk Coffee has brought you Bunko Sqaud. Don't be a jerk. Always drink Perk.
Perk, perk, perk. Perk coffee means the finest coffee beans. Ask any cop, it's Perk in his cup. Perk Coffee Company.
Please stay tuned for the Jack Benny program on most of these same WBRC stations. Thank you, and have a pleasant evening.